The sun was setting in Small Pines, North Carolina, casting an orange glow that almost masked the tension hanging in the air, a tension that felt palpable, almost smothering. You see, I'm Hara Brooks, an FBI agent working in the Civil Rights Division, and trust me, throughout this small town, things aren't always what they seem. Sure, you've got the American flags waving proudly on porches, friendly hellos exchanged with the locals. But beneath that veneer hides a different reality, a community torn apart by fear, especially among those who look like me. Now I know some of you might think, oh, it's just a small town. How bad can it be? Well, imagine this. Every time I drove through those streets, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was an outsider, an unwelcome guest in a town where cops like Sergeant Hank Grayson ran the show. His presence was domineering, not necessarily aggressive, but there was an unmistakable chill that came over you when his icy gaze fell upon you. He had this look, one that said he could ruin your day if he felt like it, and trust me, he often did. Everything came to a head one night as I was wrapping up another long shift. A group of kids was hanging out, just being teenagers, when I noticed Hank was pulling one of them aside. I couldn't just stand there, so I stepped in and said, "Hey, let the kid go. You've got no reason to stop him." Those words ignited Hank's fury. He looked at me with a simmering rage. "You think you know everything, don't you, Brooks?" In that moment, I realized I had made an enemy with someone who thrived on control. But it didn't matter. I was there to do my job. Little did I know this was all just a prelude to a far worse encounter. Fast forward to another evening, and let me tell you, the stars were bright, but that did little to light up what was about to go down. Hank pulled me over for speeding, or, that's what he claimed. There I was minding my own business, and suddenly he's at my window, an all too familiar smirk plastered across his face. "License and registration." "Hara," he drawled, his voice dripping with condescension. As I rummaged through my glove compartment, my heart sank. He didn't just want my license, he wanted something else. Before I knew it, he had cuffed me, shoving me into the back of his car. I was shocked, confused, and perhaps a bit naive, I thought. How can this happen to me, the agent who's been the voice for others? The drive felt like a lifetime, every bump in the road reminding me of my vulnerability. I could sense we were heading to a secluded area far from prying eyes. When we finally reached this desolate spot, he pulled me out of the car and marched me toward the train tracks. You can imagine the surreal horror as he tied my hands to the tracks, his eyes gleaming with a sadistic satisfaction. "Let's see if anyone cares enough to rescue you," he taunted, the weight of his words echoing in the empty night. And there I was, heart racing, fear creeping in, until in an act of sheer instinct, I pulled my badge from my pocket and declared, "You don't want to do this, Hank. I'm FBI." In that moment, I could almost hear the record scratch. The smirk evaporated from his face, replaced by pure panic. It was as if he had just seen a ghost. "What? No, no, this isn't happening," he stammered, the power suddenly shifting. He fumbled with the straps, his earlier bravado dissolving into desperation. And just like that, I was free. He stumbled back, eyes wide, almost pleading, a total reversal of roles. "This isn't over, Brooke," he hissed as he stepped back, half fearful and half furious. But I didn't need to hear that. I could already sense the consequences forming in the air. And trust me, I was ready to unleash hell on the guy. But even as I walked away satisfied at having escaped, I couldn't shake the feeling that this wasn't the end. Sure enough, I started facing obstacles that made my earlier struggles seem trivial. Files began going missing from my desk, documents wiped from my computer, things that I knew Hank had to be behind. I wasn't just up against a single man anymore. I was staring down a corrupt system that wanted to bury the truth. Things took a darker turn when I was abducted and tossed into a shipping container. Can you imagine that? Somehow it felt like a scene from a bad crime thriller. Yet here I was living it. I had to claw my way back. It was an uphill battle. The darkness and silence were almost deafening, but one thing I maintained was a fierce will to fight back. Every ounce of determination pushed me forward until the moment I made my escape. When I finally managed to send word to authorities, I didn't just want revenge, I needed justice. I came with hard evidence that painted a picture of corruption within Small Pines, catalyzing change. Soon we witnessed accountability, where before there was none. My efforts exposed years of discriminatory policing practices, and the transformation was gradual but powerful. Looking back now, I realize that while I emerged victorious, this fight isn't just about me. It goes beyond personal triumph. It reflects the shifts necessary for a community drowning in bias. In a way, I found strength not just in my badge, but in my determination to speak out. What I learned is that silence breeds injustice. It's so easy to stand by and watch comfortable content. But when you witness wrongdoing, you have to take a stand, no matter the consequences. I want to know what you think. Have you ever stood up to injustice? Have you felt the suffocating grip of fear? Share your experiences, your stories right here in the comments. Because it's only together that we can roar louder than the pain of oppression. Let's talk about justice, accountability, and standing firmly in the face of wrong. Today I can look back and see a shift, but let's not fool ourselves. There's a lot more work to be done. Your voice could be the next note in this ongoing symphony of change. Join me and let's keep the conversation going.